Hello, my name is Zachary, and I would like to sit here and talk about my transplant story. My story begins at the age of 8 weeks. When I was a youngster, I was only born with 3 of my 4 chambers of the heart. I was missing a left ventricle. Through a series of open heart surgeries, if I'm not mistaken, it was 3, I had a ventricle made and I was given a pacemaker. And I survived with pacemakers for the next 14 years. At the age of 14, I found out that I was going to be getting a heart transplant due to the fact that my heart was failing. It was called congenital heart failure. I was growing in size, I was retaining water, I was just very unhealthy. I couldn't make it up a flight of stairs without being winded. I couldn't play any of the sports that other kids could play, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. When it first started, though, I thought it was just normal. Maybe I was just tired. But as things progressed, I knew that there was something seriously wrong. I just wasn't expecting to hear congenital heart failure. So after I found out, I was scared at first, but then I came to accept it, and then I was excited because once they told me that after the transplant there was a chance that I was probably going to be just as active, if not more active, than a normal kid would be. And I wanted that. I wanted that more than anything in my entire life. I wanted to be not like everyone else, but I wanted to be able to do what everyone else could do. So I was put on the list January 31st of 2007, which happened to be my birthday. I had turned 14 that day. And then I got my transplant February 5th of 2007. I was only on the list for 5 days, which was actually practically unheard of in the transplant community. It was Super Bowl Sunday. I was watching the game with my dad when I got the call. They took me in immediately and started prepping me for the surgery. When I came out, unfortunately there was a few complications. I had some internal bleeding. The lower left lobe of my lung collapsed. I got the flu from my donor, which was terrible to get. And because of that, they kept me comatose for about 10 to 11 days. I woke up on February, I want to say either 12th or 13th. And I remained in the hospital recovering for the following month. I did not get out until at least March. And after that, I actually had to stay in a halfway house for about a week and a half, before I was able to go home. Through a series of trips between home and the hospital, I started getting better, but I did have some complications like rejection, so I actually had to stay in for another week after that. Medical imbalances, I had liver trouble too. Like I said, my lung partially collapsed, so I actually developed another complication called bronchiectasis, which I actually have to live with to this day. But overall, my life improved dramatically. The biggest thing I can think of off the top of my head is the amount of warmth I felt after transplant. My body was never warm. I was always very cold because my heart couldn't keep up with the rest of my body. So it actually got to the point where they were lowering the temperature of my room to about 50 degrees just so I stayed at a regular temperature because of how warm I felt. But that's basically what my transplant story was about from start to end. As far as the games go, it has been an amazing journey. I've been to 4 of the games. I went to Madison, Wisconsin, I went to Michigan, I've been to Texas. I had to miss the Ohio games because of school, but that was okay. And now I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, enjoying the games. I'm actually about to go participate in a pickleball event, and I can't wait to show what I've got. Transplantation is probably one of the greatest gifts that life has ever bestowed upon the medical community. The ability to take something that would no longer be used and buried in the ground, now being able to save someone else, is just breathtaking. And if there's one thing that my donor taught me, is that it does not matter where you come from, what you do. You can always give the gift of life. I heard this movie quote once, and it's been the inspiration for my life ever since. The circumstances of your birth is irrelevant. It's what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. Thank you.